Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with on a personal note. This was the fastest passing year of my life, a year of remote teaching and learning, but first of all, a year of remote management. From my perspective, it was not the year of the digital or the year of pandemic. It was the year of key values: support, help, collaboration, trust, responsibility. Agreed. It was digital technologies that gave us the oxygen during the pandemic flood. We had some air to breathe thanks to them. But it was a year of gaining confidence in the university, not just ours, any university. A year that we used well, a year when we have been together despite pandemic cancellation. Together in the sense of being with the students and for students, together in the sense of being a community. I would like to thank here my team of rectors and deans, Professor Andrzej Kozminski, and the previous rector, now the president of the university, Professor Witold Bielecki, for their support and always wide advice. Professor Kozminski, I want to welcome you, and I know that you're watching us online. No, you're here in person. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I would like to express my gratitude also to Professor Piotr Wachowiak, the rector of the Warsaw School of Economics and the head of the Conference of Rectors of Warsaw Universities, and to all of you, my fellow rectors and colleagues, for acting together in solidarity, together in the sense of the entire academic community under the aegis of the Conference of Rectors of Academic Schools in Poland. This year, we have repeatedly had to prove what solidarity, support, and united voice mean, what the autonomy of a university is, a university that is free and independent from pressure from either side of the political dispute. It was also a year of hard work, so let me mention the most important developments at our academy by taking the perspective of three megatrends that have an impact on contemporary education and science: perspective of relationship with the environment, the perspective of digital transformation, and the perspective of sustainable, responsible, inclusive development. So first, the context of relationship with the environment and interaction with the socio-economic world. In this difficult time, we have maintained our position. We are the leader in Central and Eastern Europe when it comes to business education. The Kozminski University has been ranked 45th in Europe, moving up 3 positions compared to last year. Kozminski is the only Polish university listed in the Financial Times ranking, and at the same time, the first among schools from the CEE region. At the national level, for the 22nd time in a row in the Perspective ranking, we have been recognized as the best non-public university, vice leader among economic universities, and our management program is the best in Poland. This year, we improved our standing in the general classification of Polish university, moving up from 15th to the 13th place. Additionally, the law faculty has reaffirmed its leading position and has again been ranked first in the 21 Rzeczpospolita ranking of law faculties. We have reaffirmed our international standing for the 3rd consecutive year by achieving EQUIS accreditation. That's been 21 years of experience with this accreditation, 25 years as part of the global elite of business schools. The influence on the environment is linked to trust. Therefore, it is very valuable for us that, according to the study Trustworthy Brand, Marka Godna Zaufania in 2021, we are the winner in the category of business education. Relationships with the environment can only be built through collaboration, as we now say using technical jargon, networking. Last year saw a number of new partnerships for our courses: Kanal Plus, ZUS, H&M, Porsche, New Style, Nowy Styl, ING Bank, Śląski Brief, OPI, Elements. Employers build the competence of our students together with us. In the field of law, we have signed a partnership agreement with the European Law Students Association, ELSA. with their seat here in at our premises. And we have also concluded an agreement with the Warsaw Bar Association, which supports us in practical training of our law students. So, Professor, thank you again for giving us this opportunity. We welcome initiatives in the form of hackathons, where our students solve real-life problems of companies, such as waste management using big data for Pharma, or designing mobile applications for visually impaired people for ING Bank Śląski. Personally, I think that the form of hackathons is the best for cooperating between business and students, when students can actually work on real-life projects under the pressure of time and also be judged by business practitioners. Influencing the environment also includes scientific research, which is important for all of us. Let me mention a team of researchers from our university and SWPS University that is working on psychosocial conditions of remote working in the area of COVID-19 pandemic, or about the team of Professor Dariusz Jemielniak, working on an important project entitled Nonsense and Propaganda Online, Communities and Bots Propagating Disinformation on the Internet. In the context of cooperation and networking, we have entered into further dual degree agreements with leading universities in the world, such as Graduate School of Management and St. Petersburg University or Tongji University, the leading Chinese business school. At our university, we already offer students over a dozen of such programs, and I'm just saying a sentence more about it because the module related to dual diploma is a very interesting alternative to just leaving your country for the entire course of your studies, to go abroad. In this context, we have dual degree agreements with the world's best business schools, from Brazil through France, Portugal, Great Britain, Ireland, Russia to Hong Kong. As regards management education, we have joined the elite group of MBA consortium, thanks to which our students and graduates may go to Japan, the Silicon Valley, or Brazil or South Africa in order to get knowledge there in those excellent centers. Despite the pandemic, we have organized a number of international conferences, for instance, the Regional European Marketing Association conference that just ended last week. Apart from the advisory bodies operating within the university, a few weeks ago we established an executive education advisory board where prominent business people, presidents and CEOs of such entities as PZU Życie, Longevity Center, Cinerise, BP, Oriflame, Budimex, NetGuru or Vielton will advise us on the direction in which to develop our management education. We are proud of the successes of our scientists, for example, Professor Kołotko, Professor Marcin Piotkowski, Professor Aleksandra Przegalińska, or Professor Mariola Ciszewska-Ninarisz, whose publications are appreciated both in Poland and abroad. We are extremely pleased also with the successes, achievements of our students and graduates. For example, Edgar Kobos, who has been appointed Polish youth delegate to the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly. This is really important because it's been for the first time in history that the same person has been elected for the second term to hold this office. Kozminski is also often identified with sports, so let me just mention some sports achievements. Our sports team last year, for the 12th time, won the title of the best non-public university team. Our chess players defended the title of academic champions of Poland for the first time in a row. So chess, bridge, esports, basketball, tennis are the key disciplines for our university. Our success also includes our graduates who make us proud in the country and abroad, and who, among others, are awarded by us with the Kozminski Lion statuettes, and we will be talking more about it. Another trend is digital transformation. When it comes to this area, I won't be talking about remote learning or remote teaching. I'll mention things that I believe are more important. We try to have the focus on the well-being of our students and staff by creating a psychological support team, which is really important in the pandemic time. times of solitude and pressure of remote working. We also invest in the development of digital teaching competences, realizing that putting your lectures on Teams is just the beginning of a revolution in education, the beginning of major shift in global education. We have offered new forms of education and online studies to our students. We have equipped more than a dozen classrooms with hybrid learning equipment, including jointly with our technology partners. 2 rooms have been equipped thanks to Huawei and Logitech. We teach how to verify the value of information, because we must remember that according to research, about 80% of information on the internet is information that is either fragmented, selective, false, or manipulated. We should keep this in mind when drawing conclusions, making decisions, evaluating, especially when the buzzword of contemporary management is big data, universal measurement, reliance on data, and defining all sorts of success metrics, KPIs. I think at this point it is worth mentioning the words of William Edwards Deming. People with targets and jobs dependent upon meeting them will probably meet the targets, even if they have to destroy the enterprise to do it. I wish to emphasize that when it comes to digital transformation, we are not naive romantics. We know what, along with being great competent in cyberspace, is very important. It's digital well-being, cybersecurity, awareness of threat that are there in the digital world. We understand what the digital world is, what its implications are for energy policy, cybersecurity, virtually every area of the socio-economic life. We don't give our students ready-made solutions or recipes. We prepare them to know what the world in which they will operate is. The third trend that I wanted to mention involves inclusiveness, responsible and sustainable development. In the positive impact rating, assessing the responsibility for the pro-environmental perspective, we are at the forefront of Europe. The Kozminski University has found itself among the leaders, among 46 universities from all over the world, among such universities like Maastricht University, Aalto, IEDA, HHL, Leipzig. We are aware of our impact on social and economic environment, on natural environment, and everything that is related to sustainable development. We are changing our campus to be environmentally friendly, and by 2025, we will become a paper-free organization. We won't be using paper, except maybe for the diploma that we would still like to issue to you on paper. We are implementing modern systems for university management and supporting students during their education. For university management, we support initiatives such as Green Kozminski, where students come to us with a lot of interesting ideas how to change our syllabuses, how to change our campus so that we are even more environmentally friendly. And we also invite bees to our new beehives that we have just put up on the building D roof. We have been the first university in Poland to implement the sustainable development goals at the strategy level. Out of the 17 goals, we have selected 6. Let me list them. First, ensure inclusive and high-quality, equitable education. Gender equality for women and girls. Third, support for inclusive, sustainable industrialization and innovation. Make cities and human settlements safe and sustainable for work and life. 5, ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. And 6, strengthen the means for implementation and revitalization of the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development. We've also been the first in the country to place the sustainable development at the pro-rector level of the organization. We attach great importance to promoting women as leaders of change in governments, be it through scientific research, teaching, studies, or management of the university. The Kozminski Foundation supports talented young people with scholarships, organizes aid campaigns. For instance, graduates of our university had a very destructive fire in their flat. They almost lost their lives there. So we supported them financially in this difficult time. Similarly, we also supported the Praga Hospital in Warsaw by collecting funds for a ventilator. Now, what's next? On watching the reality, we have very close relationship with very good, the best universities all over the world. A lot of us visit universities in the United States, in Asia, in Europe, and a lot of us come to the same conclusion. It's now time to change our perspective. Kozminski University is currently the leading business university in Central and Eastern Europe, in our region. But we aim higher, and we want to achieve the status of a world-class business university located in the center of Europe, in Warsaw. Now, is it possible with our modest budgets? We've been making up for it with ambition and dreams since 1993. When our university was established. But we also are counting on a mindset change, especially on the part of the business community. And I would like to appeal here to all those who complain about Polish universities. I'm looking now at my friends, rectors, vice-rectors, deans. I know that we have achieved a lot considering those difficult conditions and the level of funding for science in Poland. The endowment funds of the biggest, the best universities in the world is billions of hundreds of millions of dollars. That's the amounts we are talking about. And it's just not just the state or government that is always their donor supporting the universities in their fight or at the very competitive market of education. And saying all this, I'm addressing all those who care about the well-being of Polish universities. I'm asking you for patience, support, and active involvement in building the power of Polish science. And in particular, I appeal to the representatives of the business community to invest in Polish research, in Polish students, in Polish scientists. Do we really, to take a football perspective, always want to be proud of the achievements of foreign clubs? I know that each of you, deep in your heart, dreams about having our own Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, so having Polish inside Harvard or MIT. Believe me, it can be done, and it's not just a dream, a fantasy. These students, I'm really glad that there are so many of you are here with us today, and let me address my final words to you, because you are the main focus of this ceremony. When I was your age, I traveled a lot, and I will never forget my visit to the Prado Museum in Madrid. Walking among the medieval portraits, I noticed that many figures were accompanied by a human skull, and it bothered me a lot why that symbol so often appeared next to lively, smiling, vigorous people. It turns out that the answer is both simple and reflective. Because of disease, frequent battles or wars, the transience of time was extremely noticeable at the time. People knew how fragile life is, how important the time is, how important every moment was. And even though today we are living in a bubble of efficiency, a cult of success, an obsession with reality control, which has given rise to all forms of managing everything with big data, from the weather to organizations to our own body and health. The reality is that we are just as vulnerable as we were hundreds or thousands years ago, vulnerable in the face of the passing time. That is why it's not the financial resources that are the most important sacrifice that you make. It's your time, the time of your life that you have decided to devote to your development at our university. As university authorities and faculty, we are aware of this, perhaps even more aware than you are yourselves. You would do well not to think about the passing time for as long as possible, feeling that you still have a lot of that time. But we are thinking about your time, and we feel responsible for making sure that you do not waste your time here with us. And I deliberately use the phrase your development in our university, because at our university we do not only look at you through the prism of a solid, practical, modern education. According to a World Economic Forum study, 68% of current elementary school students will work in occupations that do not yet exist. And we do not know what the emerging technologies will bring to the development of the world, such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, or Internet of Things. So let's wonder whether they perhaps won't destroy humanity, if only through the enormous demand for electricity, or entangling us in total control, in which we ourselves, and not the mythical big brother, will bring about our own digital enslavements. Now, what are the implications of all this? First, we need to teach you how to learn. We need to teach you how to unlearn. We need to teach you how to look for answers rather than what the answer looks like. We need to teach you how to doubt and how to question and how to look critically at the information you have been given. We must convince you that learning is a lifestyle, not just formal learning, but learning on the go. Just reading from Instagram while you're traveling on a tram, a post devoted to learning French, or listening to a podcast about modern management while you're stuck in traffic. If you wish so, Kozminski University will be your partner in development for the rest of your lives. For us, researchers, scientists, teachers, the contemporary world is also a great learning and school of life. We want to be your authority, maybe not only authority in terms of knowledge, but in terms of conduct, outlook on the world, and the values we uphold. Second, we need to give you an education that gives you freedom of choice in life. That is why we put so much emphasis on the practicality of our studies, on bringing in business and institutional partners, on showing you our research, on going into the world, become international. It may sound trivial, but it's really important. It's a great idea that traveling and living in other places teaches you a lot. As we update our degree syllabi, we encourage you to learn algorithmic thinking. Remember, knowledge of basics of programming today is like knowledge of English in 1988. You don't have to be fluent, but it's like lingua franca. It's the current basis for the social and economic development. And it's not about putting digital competency above or instead a non-digital world, but it's about developing the ability to properly function both in the analog and the digital world. But above all, we want you to be amazing people, ambitious, open-minded, self-confident in a positive sense, acting ethically, aware of the changes taking place in the society, in the economy. Believe me, the world is yours, and nothing gives parents greater joy than the success of their children. And you are our professional children. That is why it's so important for us to be successful. We want to be proud of you, and let this was happy and favorable for you. Thank you very much.